Assalamu alaikum. This is the day that the Lord has made, indeed. Thank you, brothers and sisters, for tuning in to this week's edition of the Trumpet on Greenwood. Again, it's a beautiful day. We've came through the storm, and we've been blessed with another day to focus on the word and teachings of truth that will help inspire and enlighten our people, as Jesus teaches us that we must seek truth from the cradle to the grave. So we are striving to seek that truth so that we can help improve our condition and improve our people. Again, this is your brother student, Minister Alvin Muhammad, here in Tulsa, Oklahoma, coming to you live from the Greenwood Beat, the Trumpet on Greenwood, one of the new and fascinating new radio stations that is being established. And we just want to encourage you, not only on Facebook, to continue to tune in to the Greenwood Beat and support and help us grow this radio station, this wonderful opportunity for us to inform our community about things that are happening, not only in Tulsa, but specifically here in the Greenwood District. Again, this week's subject on the Greenwood Trumpet is called Redefining the African American Community of Tulsa, Oklahoma. Redefining the African American community of Tulsa, Oklahoma. And let me begin, as I always do, with the greeting words of peace and paradise. First, saying that I bear witness that there is no God but Allah, who came in the person of Master Muhammad, and that the most honorable Elijah Muhammad is his messenger. And I further bear witness that Minister Louis Farrakhan is indeed the divine reminder in our midst. I greet you, brothers and sisters, listening audience, in the Arabic words of peace and paradise, Assalamu alaikum. And for those who are unfamiliar with that term, it simply means peace. Again, redefining the African American community of Tulsa, Oklahoma. What is or what constitutes the African American community of Tulsa, Oklahoma in this city or in the United States? And more importantly, who provides us with this definition of black people? According to the Census Bureau, the African American population of Tulsa sits at about 58,254 people, 14.5% of Tulsa's total population. African American, according to the Census Bureau, refers to all black people in Tulsa, which includes Nigerian, Haitian, Jamaican, or any other group of blacks from Africa or the sub-Sahara region. Again, according to the Census Bureau, there are 735 Nigerians in Tulsa. There are, in the zip code, of 741, there are 155 Haitians in the zip code of 741, and around 110 Jamaicans living in the 741 zip code of Tulsa, Oklahoma. Now, I'm sure we have a larger number of individuals listed in Tulsa or who are in Tulsa than what they have listed. But what is important for us as black people is that we don't allow ourselves to be defined by how our oppressors define us, which keeps our people divided. In the supreme wisdom given to us by God, who appeared in the person of Master Muhammad, the question is asked, why does the devil call our people Africans? The answer in part being, the original people called the continent Asia, but the devil calls it Africa to try to divide them. He wants us to think we are all different. This is the plight of us today among black people in Tulsa and around the country. We don't connect with our black people because we have been made to believe that we are all different. I remember being a student at the University of Tulsa. I encountered some students from Africa who were being sponsored by one of the oil companies here in Tulsa. I became good friends with one of my African brothers who was fascinated with me being a Muslim follower of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. He invited me to a social event that the oil company was putting on for the African students. And as I walked into the event wearing my suit and bow tie, you could have almost heard a pin drop the room got so quiet. The brother came over to greet me, but I noticed in this room of about 50 students, there were 3 to 4 whites who appeared to be monitoring the activities of the social event. Those white monitors kept their eyes peeled on me as my brother introduced me to other students around the room, and I can almost feel how uncomfortable the students were made to feel concerning the reaction of those white monitors in the room. The next day of class, the brother came to me with tears in his eyes and told me he was informed that in order to remain a sponsored student, that he could no longer associate with me nor invite me to such social events that the oil company were putting on to keep those students apart from the African American community. It became clear to me that after that incident that the African American students and the African Americans did not interact that much on campus. The black frats and sororities did their thing, and the oil companies provided events for the African students to keep them entertained and apart from the African American students. Oral Roberts has a very large African American community out in South Tulsa, and if you happen to visit the Walmart by Oral Roberts, you will notice a very large African presence, but you will quickly sense that they feel different from us and almost avoid you. Last night I was out for a ride on my motorcycle and I passed by B.S. Roberts Park and saw a large group of black individuals listening to Jamaican music with several vendor booths on site. So I stopped to inquire about what was going on. As I entered the parking lot, I noticed that the majority of individuals had on Jamaican colors, and not one of the people standing around were anyone I have ever seen or noticed before at previous events that I attended, whether it be Juneteenth or celebration dealing with Black Wall Street, Centennial, and things of that nature. Those individuals look somewhat unfamiliar to me. So I approached a random brother and I asked what the celebration was about. And he informed me that it was a celebration of Jamaican independence from European colonizers that is celebrated every August 6th. I was even more dumbfounded to learn that they have been having this celebration in Tulsa for the last 7 to 10 years at Chandler Park, but I never heard of such a celebration. Of course, I quickly sought after the organizer of this event and found them because it is my hope and desire that future events are well attended by the African American community of Tulsa, because their celebration for independence from white colonizers is our celebration for freedom. We need to understand that we are one people. Their fight is our fight. Their victory is our victory. But again, we have been made to feel and think we are different from one another. This is why the Muhammad Speaks newspaper, established by the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, now called the Final Call newspaper, pictured a black man in America reaching across the ocean, clasping the hands of a black man in Africa, because as a people, we must unite. We must learn to leave our comfort zone and venture out of our normal celebrations like Juneteenth or Black Wall Street celebrations, centennial celebrations, to connect to our black family here in Tulsa that our colonizers label Africans to keep us divided and making us think that we are different. Many of us pay Ancestry.com to tell us that we are from what is called Africa, yet we don't connect with those from Africa that reside right here within our cities. We must define ourselves based upon what God has taught us and not based on labels our colonizers gave us. This is why God, who appeared in the person of Master Fard Muhammad, taught us that we are the original people of the planet Earth, because that title, original, supersedes African, Jamaican, Nigerian, Haitian, Native American, or any other titles that we have been accustomed to, being descendants of slaves here in America. We are original, the makers, the owners, the cream of the planet Earth, God and goddesses of the universe. So teaches God to us. We are 4,400,000,000 or more black people on the planet, which includes 2 million Indians, compared to our 400 million or more white counterparts who live on our planet. They keep us divided, brothers and sisters, with labels because they don't want us to realize how powerful in number we are as a people. In fact, according to recent census data, Tulsa is now a majority minority city. Let me repeat that again. Tulsa is now a majority minority city, meaning that more than half of Tulsa's population is made up of people of color. What this means is that if people of color or black people united, we could change the trajectory of not only education, but also politics here in the city of Tulsa. This is why we must destroy clique politics and tribalism that keeps the black community of Tulsa in a position of dependent slaves, waiting on those outside of our community to provide us with food, clothing, and shelter, unlike our ancestors who built the independent, historic Greenwood District. As stated in last week's broadcast, we have become cloned from a once great and prosperous people and made into a divided and dependent people who serve the needs of our colonizers who experiment and control us, as indicated in the movie They Cloned Tyrone. We have the same genetic makeup, but we don't possess the mind of independence of our great Greenwood ancestors. So we must be given a new mind and a new way of thinking, which is why we must receive Elijah, who is stated in Malachi 4:6 as stating or as doing or turning us the hearts of the parents back to the children and the hearts of the children back to their parents. We are the children of slaves ripped from our parents in Africa, made by our colonizers to believe that we are different from our ancestors. As stated in Romans 12:2, we can no longer conform to the labels of this world of white supremacy and black inferiority, but we must be transformed by the renewing of our minds. Then we will be able to test and approve what God's will is, his good, pleasing, and perfect will for our people. This is why Allah God says in the Holy Quran 49:13, we created you from a single pair, male and female, and made you into nations and tribes that ye may know each other and not despise each other. But in America, we have been made into tribes and cliques so that we may not know one another and learn to despise other black people. It doesn't matter if we call ourselves Republicans, Democrats, African Americans, Crips, or Bloods. We are taught to despise one another, and it is manifested in the way that we treat each other within our community. So the Honorable Elijah Muhammad teaches us to accept our own and be ourselves. We must learn how to accept our own people and connect and unite with them in Tulsa and around the world, that we may learn to do something for ourselves. On a microcosmic level, this is what our ancestors who built the historic Greenwood District did. They connected with other blacks in surrounding black towns to provide their people with the goods and material needed to sustain the black community when whites deprived them of services. On a macrocosmic level, this is what the Honorable Elijah Muhammad did for black people across the nation, introducing black people to international buying and shipping of products such as whiting fish to America from abroad in the late 70s. When we cast off the mindset of self-hate for our own black people, this mindset that makes us believe we are different, and connect with our African parents abroad, our African family, then we will not have to wonder who will feed us good, healthy food in this food desert that we now live in. This is why, brothers and sisters, we must unite with our Haitian, African, Nigerian, and Jamaican community and change the trajectory of education, politics, and economics in this racist red state and city. We must accept our own. We must be one with our original black selves. This is based upon my experience, again, with meeting our Jamaican brothers and sisters on last night. I kind of felt bad. I shouldn't say I kind of felt bad. I actually felt bad that I was not aware of such an event going on for the last 7 to 10 years in our community. And this is due because we have been conditioned to stay away from one another. Many of our brothers, as I experienced being a student at the University of Tulsa, many of them come here and they are informed or warned to stay away from us in the black community. And because we have been made to think that we are like our white counterparts, when our African brothers and sisters come home or come to us, we reject them, or we don't consider them as part of our community. We consider them as different because we see ourselves as Americans, like our white counterparts, and we see them as immigrants. But we are one family. We must learn to accept one another and be one with ourselves. Again, we can change the trajectory of education here in Tulsa and the state of Oklahoma as we're begging and demanding them to teach the true history of black folks, not only in America, but in particular on the historic or within the historic Greenwood District. When we unite with our brothers and sisters, we can change the trajectory of economics because we can connect with our brothers and sisters who are from Africa and or what is called Africa and begin to obtain or order or ship the things that we need in our community to provide us with the healthy foods we need to keep our community independent and not dependent upon those outside of our community. When we unite with our brothers and sisters who are from Africa, we can change the trajectory of politics in this red racist city and state. Again, Tulsa is now a majority minority community. That means that the people of color outnumber those who are of the Caucasian race. So why are we allowing ourselves to remain divided? Why are we allowing ourselves to be used as tools against our own progress and success? We have to wake up. We have to see our brothers from Jamaica as our brothers and sisters. We have to see our brothers from Africa as our brothers and sisters. We have to see our Haitians brothers and sisters as family. This is how we change the trajectory of education, politics, and economics in the city of Tulsa, which again now is a majority minority city. But as long as we remain divided and we allow ourselves to be used as tools, as we have done for far too long, then we will have to go along to get along, and we will see our brothers and sisters who are our family as different people. It is important, brothers and sisters, that we accept our own like the most honorable Elijah Muhammad teaches us and be ourselves. Ourselves are the original people of the planet Earth. Again, we are the makers. We are the owners. We are the cream of the planet Earth. We are the mothers and fathers of the universe, and we must come together as a family so that we can change our condition and revive what the Greenwood District was all about. It was about black people coming together, not relying on those outside of our community. They came together as family, and they addressed their own needs. And it was not just the Greenwood District, but all these black towns that are in the state of Oklahoma. We work with our brothers and sisters to bring in products to address our needs and keep our community strong and independent. But once the enemy found or allowed us to come into his stores, we lost the hope, we lost the desire, we lost the will to do that which we should have done or continue to do for ourselves. So now look at us today. We're asking for a grocery store. We were asking for a grocery store for somebody to bring healthy food to our people. Do we not know how to grow food anymore? Look at us today. We are relying on those outside of our community to educate us. So now we have individuals being paid to come to Tulsa in order to teach our students about themselves. Can we trust them to teach our children about the true history of themselves? They've already made laws dealing with critical race theory, which prevent the truth of what happened to our people on Greenwood and what happened to our people in the United States from being told, because those who abused our people, those who are the descendants of those who murdered our people, do not want their ancestors to be besmirched. So they don't want us to teach about issues that's going to cause us to be angry or cause us to be upset about what those outside of our community have done to us, and in truth continue to do to us. We're still dealing with police brutality in America. It's not something that has disappeared. There has just not been a case that has risen to the point that has brought everybody behind it lately. But the abuse still continues. When you look at any economic indicator in our society, because of racism and white supremacy, you'll find that the black man and woman is at the lowest rung of that economic or social indicator. We at the only one that we are at the highest rung of activity is in the area of death. But we are unhealthy. We are most unemployed. We are the least educated, because we rely too heavily on those outside of our community to do that which we must learn to do for ourselves. So we must, brothers and sisters, unite. We must break out of our comfort zone. We must connect to our brothers and sisters who may not be from the hood, but are from what is referred to as Africa, the motherland. We must connect. We can learn much. I learned a lot just last night talking to my Jamaican brothers and sisters, learning that they've been doing this celebration in our community for 7 to 10 years, learning the history of their independence, learning that they have a strong community within our community, and understanding that it's important that we connect with our Jamaican brothers and sisters. I've also read in the Tulsa world at times of events going on at the Greenwood Cultural Center involving not what we are familiar with as refers to the African Ancestral Society, but as it relates to those brothers and sisters who are from what is referred to as Africa, having events and social events. We must engage in that, because their numbers is our numbers. Their power is our power. Their knowledge is our knowledge. And most importantly, they are family. So we must get out of our comfort zone. We must connect with our brothers, and we must inform our community of such events. I wish we had a page. Maybe it's upon me to do it, but we should have a community page specifically for us and our different communities, so that we all can refer to that page to see what is going on among the different communities within our community. The most honorable, as the Holy Quran teaches, Allah made us into tribes, into nations, so that we may know one another, not that we continue to be divided and unknowing of one another. So we must be obedient to God. We must work to know one another and strengthen our numbers and our community by connecting one with another. Again, brothers and sisters, I thank you for tuning in to this week's edition of Trumpet on Greenwood. I just encourage us to really seek out our African brothers and sisters, to truly seek out our Jamaican brothers and sisters, to seek out our Haitian brothers and sisters and connect. There's much that we can learn from one another. We cannot allow the enemy of our people, and they are our people. We must look at them as family. We cannot allow the enemy of our people to keep us divided in unliking or unloving of one another. Again, this is the purpose of the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. This is why we had that image of a black man reaching off across the ocean to his brothers and sisters in Africa, hands clasped in love, because we are to be united as a people and restored to our God. Allah changes not the condition of a people until they are willing to change the condition of themselves. We must have a desire to change the condition of ourselves, and God will bless us with absolute success and unity. Again, thank you for tuning in to this week's edition of Trumpet on Greenwood. Look forward to hearing and seeing you again next week. Make sure, brothers and sisters, you tune in on the internet to the Greenwood Beat. You will not be disappointed. I enjoy listening to what I call my black radio station. It has good music. It doesn't have this degrading music that we have become accustomed to on the local radio station. Music that promotes death. Music that promotes disrespect of black women. How can we as a people advance? How can we grow when we allow and listen to this music and it's being fed into us and our children? We wonder why our children are killing each other, because they are being fed this type of murderous music. But the Greenwood Beat gives us good music that we can listen to. So I encourage you, brothers and sisters, make sure that you tune in via internet or any device that you have to the Greenwood Beat and listen to good black music, good wholesome music, music that you can listen to with your family as you on a road trip. Tune into the Greenwood Beat and support black growth and business here on the Greenwood District in these historic buildings on Greenwood. Assalamu alaikum. Thank you for tuning in. I'll see you next week.